Hi, I'm Claire and this is my husband Nick. We met in an online chat room in 2001 and ended up getting married in 2006. We're a fairly normal, hard-working couple. We love travelling and enjoying a drink or two. In early 2020, we decided we wanted a whole new life-changing challenge. So we said goodbye to our jobs. We sold our Wiltshire farmhouse. We packed up our things and made the move to France. In early 2001, I went back to the UK to finalise our house sale and pick up my Aga. I was on Facebook on an Escape to the Chateau fan club page when I saw this advert. I messaged Nick the advert. Curiosity got the better of him and he went and arranged a viewing. With the instructions from me, I trust your judgment. If you think I'll like it, put in an offer. The offer was accepted and we finally got the keys on the 10th of June 2021. Join us and our dogs, Merlot and Flora, as we renovate our maison de maitre. Another lovely afternoon out at a brico shop. We've come back today to pick up the water cylinders for in the maison de maitre, and at the same time we had a voucher for the shop because we'd spent so much money and there was a promotion last time. So we've got the grab handles for in the buanderie for in the bathroom. There we go. And now we're in the other part of the bricolage department in the van because we are coming for a bag of
lime. See where it is.
And I also picked up some paint to do the wash stand with, but you'll have to wait and see because these aren't actually the true colours of the paint that's inside them.
I've come back to absolute carnage. It looks like somebody left the bin lid open and Flora has managed to get in. Who's done this? Flora? Is this you? Don't look so pleased with yourself.
Good morning, Merlot. I get the impression that you want me to throw your turkey for you. Is that why you've brought me your turkey? Oh, what a lovely turkey. Is that your favourite turkey? Good morning, Flora. Flora? You really want me to throw the turkey, don't you? Turkey.
Military. That would perhaps suggest that we're moving from defensive to offensive weaponry being offered to
Turkey.
Ukrainians.
We had an early start this morning. About 8:30 we were up. We've got an electrician who's here today to come and change all of the fuse board over so the electric will be able to support the house that we're in and the maison de maitre when all of the electric's in there. So at the moment there's no electric on. But what I've decided to do is I've decided to come into the sausage factory and start defrosting this massive leg of wild boar. So one of my work colleagues managed to source this for me, and I think it's from a hunt fairly local to here. It's, I think, the rear hind leg of a boar who was obviously pretty big. And on the day I got it, it was fresh, but I've frozen it. And obviously I'm just defrosting this, which will take a little while. But then I'm going to butcher it down and I'm going to take it off the bone. And I'm probably going to make a good couple of casseroles out of it. But also, for a while, I've been wanting to make some boar jerky. So this could be quite interesting, especially after seeing the boar crossing the road last week. Oh my God, wild boar! Look, just massive wild boar running through a field. This is the washstand that Nick was working on a couple of weeks ago, and this morning I'm gonna give it some TLC, or try and give it some TLC. Around the top of the unit and the back of the unit, where it's old, the marble's been stained. He tried polishing it with some kind of polishing disc pad. I saw that a lady had commented on the video that we'd done, that sinking feeling, and she'd suggested using white spirit to clean the top of this unit. Now, normally I wouldn't really think or want to use anything abrasive on marble, but I'm going to give it a go with this first. I've also got some backup cleaning products, but anything's worth a shot. So here, this part of the marble is kind of clean. It's a little bit scratched, but it's nothing too bad. But then when you look along the back here, you can see like dirty patches in the marble and kind of like a bit of yellowing. So the white spirit's kind of like taking the edge off of it. You can still see some of the marks in it. It's like it's ingrained into the marble and it's just absorbed it. I've also seen that there's a slight crack along the back of it here. So I'm going to give it one more shot with a cleaning product, because I just don't want to ruin the whole of the marble top by like chucking acid on it and cleaning products. This is a product that you can get in England called Pink Stuff. It's actually really good. So I'm going to give it a bit of a once over with this, and then I'm going to clean it, and if it doesn't happen, then at least it's definitely clean, but it'll just look aged. So Pink Stuff doesn't seem to be doing anything to it either. I think I'm gonna, using the two products has definitely lightened the stains, but it's not got rid of them completely. So I think it's just going to be a case of slight patina. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to clean all of the chemicals off of it because they're not particularly nice, and I'm going to clean the whole of the washstand down, because the bottom's a bit dirty from where obviously it was drilled and there was water, and yeah, it just needs a real good clean down now. So I now have everything masked up and ready, and I went and I've bought this furniture paint called Liberon, and it's about €28 a tub, and it's quite expensive. Now, normally I don't like the idea of painting furniture. I think it ruins it. I'm just not a fan of doing it, but I'm going to give it a go with this washstand. There's loads of watermarks on the bottom. Yeah, I could sand it forever and get them out and varnish it, but I don't think it will go with the colours that we've chosen for the room. So I'm going to give it a going over with this black. It's called New Brilliant Black, and it's actually like an iridescent glittery black. I know what you're thinking, oh, it's really dark, but just trust me on this one, I think. So there we have it, there's one coat down. The bit that you can see that I haven't painted, that's where the drawer sits, but I will probably go over that at some point. It's definitely not a thick paint. Hit a bit of an issue. It's not anything to do with the washstand. If anyone really knows me, they'll know that I really hate moths. I honestly think that they are the winged beings of Satan. They're dusty, they're eerie, apart from feeding bats, they really have no purpose in life. And I'm in the sausage factory and I keep hearing this big thing against the window going dunk, donk. And I've just seen what it is, so I've just taken a step back from the window. I always think that moths are gonna like crawl in your ears at night and lay eggs. But I'm in here at the moment with a thing called a hummingbird moth. They look pretty cute, but their wings go really quickly. And I'll try and video it on the window, but I'm absolutely pooping my pants scared. There it is, it's just on the corner of the window near the glass. And although it may look just like a regular moth, it's not just a regular moth. So we're now a few hours on, the paint's dried, the electric's still not back on. Not a problem, still just waiting. The weather's gone really horrible and grey outside, so I brought a battery powered light in here, and I'm just about to give this coat number 2. Coat number 1's gone on quite well. As I said before, it's not very thick. It's like a shiny effect. Then I find the coat. Coat number 2 is always done better with a glass of wine, because with the electric being off, I can't get the kettle to work. Oh well. When you stir paint, always make sure you use one of your husband's screwdrivers or tools that's nearby. Does the job perfectly. And it may also try and deter him from leaving tools lying around. Hint. There you have it, coat number 2, but I am going to have to call it quits for the night now. I can't see naffle, and wherever I'm painting it just looks shiny and I don't want to mess it up, so coat number 2, done. 6 o'clock and I've just been prepping some veg for tonight's dinner in the dark, but apparently very soon there is hope of the lights coming back on. The oven is on. This gives me hope. Nick's wandering around with a torch. This also gives me hope. I've also been making additional preparations for when the lights come back on. It's now been 9 hours without power, and my husband's been to the toilet since a couple of times. I prepared myself fully. New mop head. And then there was light.
So the electrician's just left for the day. We have power again, which has delighted Claire. What he's done is basically get rid of all the old fuses. All set up like that with fuses in them. And replaced it with this nice modern thing with RCD protection. It's taken him quite a while to reroute all the cables. It's not quite finished, ran out of time today, but he's coming back in the morning to get that finished off. But sadly overnight we have power, we have heat, we have lighting, so happy days.
So the giant leg of boar has now been defrosting for about 12 hours. It's still slightly frozen, so I'm going to leave it overnight. I'm quite confident that it will be okay in here because it's in the sausage factory. It's not a room that's heated. It's actually quite cold in here. I don't know whether you can see, but there's a massive boar hair. It's 8:30 and day 2 of the electrician. We're just in bed, aren't we? We're just waiting for the electric to go off. The day is finally here. She's been defrosted overnight. The sun is shining, and it's time to butcher down this giant leg of boar. I'm not a squeamish person. I don't mind being around meat and blood and guts and things like that. So I'm actually quite excited about this. The hairs on this are really thick. Yeah, it's as if, I don't know whether it's been butchered down in somebody's garage or whether it's been butchered down in a forest. I'm probably going to give it a little rinse over because it's got quite a lot of dirt on it. I've given it a rinse and I've rinsed the dirt off of it. Quite a lot came off actually, and now I'm kind of looking to find where the bones are. Anything that is in here that is bone, I'm just going to try and take it out. I obviously want to try and get as many meals out of this as possible. Still slightly cold in the middle where it's still just a little bit frozen. So when you're getting your hand in, you can actually just feel the cold. All of the bits of skin and fatty excess sinew or anything like that in sync. Blooming heavy. I want to be able to get it where I've taken the meat off close enough to the bone where I can peel it open like a book. And just there is the bone. So this is my lovely meat cleaver. My husband actually bought me this as a present one day when we were back in the UK. I don't think I've ever used it before. It's got to be pretty sharp. Let's give it a whirl. Let's cut these joints down. Give Flora Merlot presents. I'm just going to give it a tap first to get into the socket, and then I'm going to crunch, or I'm going to rock on the knife to go through the bone. Give it another tap. One bone down. I have left a bit of meat on the bone. Bin that bit. And now I'm going to go in again, but I'm going to go in on the hip. Obviously the hip bends, and I'm just going to start by giving it a tap. I've got hold of the bone and I'm in control of the knife, and I think where it's got quite a lot of weight to it, it's kind of really going through the bone easily, so I don't need to rock the knife over the bone. There we go. Woohoo! Done. Thank you very much. Thank you, husband. Great purchase. So much better than the time when he bought me a Hoover for Valentine's Day. So I'm now pretty confident that I've got all of the bones out of this. Now the whole leg is like a book that's been turned out. Some of the meat in it is still a little bit cold, a little bit frozen, but it's good because it's cutting it all off. You can see the portion that would have been the shin. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go around and I'm going to try and just work some of the sinew off of this. I'm allowing Nick in for a moment.
Thank you, dear. Electrician's gone.
Yes.
Well, the electrician has now finished, leaving us with this beautiful new consumer unit, all labelled up, RCD switches. Yeah, very happy with the service. Yeah, would highly recommend him. If you need to know who he is, give me a message.
Like humans, boars can have cysts and giant blackheads under their skin, and I've actually just hit what must be some kind of blackhead or cyst. So if you're like, well, if you enjoy Dr. Pimple Popper, this is the moment for you with a boar. If you're squeamish, look away now. Look at that. Yeah. We're just gonna bin that and cut it out. There we go, there's the last of the cyst. It is a wild animal. With the sinew that kind of coats the meat, when it comes off, it's kind of like a pair of tights. think is the best way I can explain it. It's quite thin, quite stretchy skin. See all the fatty trim coming off? So my oven's now warm enough, and I'm going to get these bones and some just little bits of extras in the oven. I've finished with this cut, all of the sinews trimmed from it. I might roll and tie that. So I've taken the thigh off, and I've taken part of the thigh and part of the shin off, and I'm left with the outer leg section, which is here. The knee would have been here, and the shin would have been here, leading down to the foot. I just removed any of the fat from around where the knee was. A quick cup of coffee while my bones are roasting. It's quite satisfying is when you get the knife under it and you get a real good rhythm going, it just kind of like lifts and peels. Makes a nice noise as well. So this is where I'm at. I've got the outer part of the thigh and the shin all together, and then I've taken off part of the thigh and the shin, which is a really nice lean piece of meat underneath as well. You look at that. Then I've got a couple of offcuts that can either go for doggies or casserole. That was part of the shin. And then I've also got this part of the upper thigh here, which is quite nice. And then over here in the sink, I've got all of the waste, the trimmings, and somewhere in there is 2 cysts. But yeah, there's not a lot of wastage. I wonder what the head butcher of this place would have thought of me doing this. Now, with it being an abattoir and a sausage factory at one point, hopefully I'm doing someone some justice here. So this is the finished butchered down product at the moment. So this is very, very unsinewy. I'm probably going to give that to Nick for his lunch. This I'm going to roll and tie. This, again, I think I may roll and tie this. This piece here, the outer shin, I think I may use that for the jerky. And then over here are the top of the thigh and a couple of other pieces that I'm going to do for tomorrow's casserole. My bones are now done. Oh, look at them. I'm just going to chuck those bones straight into this pot. Now I'm going to get these bits diced down and into here, where I'm going to soak them overnight in red wine. I'm just going to cut the meat down now, and then I'm going to add the veg later. And this is the part where you crap yourself because the doorbell's just gone and you don't speak a lot of French. I'm back from the doorbell, and thankfully that was all in English. It was our next door neighbour, and I've invited him round tomorrow lunchtime to come and have some boar casserole. And I will just say, yes mother, I am watching my fingers. I'm going to use this bit for Nick for lunch. I'm going to just cut this down and I'm going to pan fry it, and I think I'm going to make him wild boar fajita for lunch. So for my jerky, I want really, really thin slices. My mum and dad bought me a lovely Wusthof knife for Christmas, so I'll probably use this. I want these pieces quite thin, because obviously I want the marinade to really soak into the meat, but also when it goes through the dehydrator, it'll be lovely. And when you eventually have boar jerky as a snack, you don't really want like a tiny little chunk, you want a nice slice of it. We've got my jerky, I've got my casserole, I've got my fajita, I've got my little dog pile. I'm gonna roll this, I'm gonna tie it, and then I think I'm gonna freeze this. My hands, and then I've got some French butcher's twine. English butcher's string twine is a lot more thicker than this. It's just odd. So I have one piece of nicely tied lean meat to go in the freezer. I have my doggy section. I have my casserole section. I have my fajita section. I have my boar jerky section. Look at that, wild boar fajita.
I've been made a wild boar fajita for lunch today. Here it is.
You're wearing that grey jumper again. My mother won't like that. I'm cleaned down and I'm ready to now start on the jerky. I've got my thin strips of boar in this Pyrex jug. One of the first things that I am going to do in a second is I'm going to drain some of the excess blood from the bottom. To go into my marinade, and I'm going to use the same one that I did before previously, but with beef. I'm going to use brown cane sugar. I'm going to use some soy sauce, some Maldon smoked salt, some smoked paprika, smoked garlic, smoky barbecue seasoning, tiny bit of cayenne pepper, some smoke oil, bit of Worcestershire sauce, some Chinese meat marinade, and some flaked chilies. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drain the meat, I'm going to add a little bit of everything, and then I'm going to cover it with foil, and I'm going to leave it in the fridge probably for a day and a half. There's no real rules to what I've done or how I've done this before with amounts of anything. I'm just going to kind of make a conservative guess. On, and I'm going to mix this all together. I am now going to cover you with foil. It's time for the fridge. In my stock there is charred onions, leeks, turnips, garlic, carrots, and a couple of tomatoes. And now I'm going to bring this big pan up to a nice rolling boil. Oh, and of course not forgetting my my boar bones that are cooked off. They're in the bottom too. Flora Merlot, this evening's dinner is the wild boar offcuts that I cooked for you earlier. Is that okay for you? Merlot, chew it. Don't just swallow it, chew it. So I have all of my vegetables prepped and ready to go into the boar casserole for tomorrow. I've got carrots, parsnips, turnips, onions, leeks, garlic, and mushrooms, and I'll also be putting some herbs in there. Rather than doing it in the slow cooker, I've decided to use my big pan to cook it in tomorrow, but really slowly. At the moment I've still got the stock on, and I'm just about to take this off, and I'm just about to pass the stock. Hey! I'm going to fish the bones out first. Here's our hip from earlier. I've left quite a lot of meat on the hip for Mel and Flora to enjoy. forward to having a big kitchen back. This is what will be thickened and made into gravy. And over here we have some of the stock for our casserole tomorrow. So I've made 4 pots of quite thin gravy. Thought if you make it thin, you can always thicken it as you go when you need it. And I'm just going to wait for this to cool down, and then I'm going to label it and freeze it. Gravy. So Mother Dearest and Father are here, and I've laid the table ready for lunch. Nana has brought bread. The slow cooker with the boar marinating and the wine is on. And the veg has been sat in the stock overnight. So after a day in the dehydrator, my boar jerky is now ready, and I'm just about to vacuum pack it. And there I have all of my final dried and packed boar jerky. You two, I have dinner for this evening in the form of this hip bone. Are we ready for the hip bone? Okay, here we go. No, you have to share with Flora. Flora, I really wish you wouldn't. Oh, bye-bye, Flora. Why do you have to do it on the carpet? You absolute terrorist. Oh, bye-bye. Oh well, there goes the hip bone. After all of the trouble of laying the table, making the boar casserole, inviting our lovely neighbour round, having my parents here, I actually forgot to take pictures of the casserole. But how was it?
It was delicious, as everyone who ate it will testify.
So, welcome to Wine of the Week.
This week, something a little bit different. We had a surprise couple of visitors, Roger and Eileen, who were on their way back to their home in Charroux from their holiday home on the coast. They own a maison de maitre as well, a different style to ours, but they watch the channel. So hello, Roger and Eileen.
Hi.
So there was a knock on the door, and they were there and gifted us some lovely box of chocolates and some booze. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Pinot, spelled P-I-N-E-A-U, is a fortified wine particular to this region of France. Similar to a sherry,
Yeah.
but nicer, sweeter. And it's made by people that make cognac, but some of it turns into this fortified wine.
And you can get it in red, white. I think you can get it in rosé, I'm not sure.
It's good if you want it on melon or just as an aperitif. So yeah, well, they brought us a box of 3 local drinks, and one of them is this red Pinot.
I've had run-ins with Pinot before. It's not necessarily sometimes been successful. It's quite hard to open, isn't it? A wine that's hard to open.
Must be out of practice.
Oh, here goes.
So it is best served chilled. We've had this in the cellar, so it's come out at a nice cool temperature. Oh, lovely fruity.
That's how I remember Pinot.
very nice. So,
cheers to Roger and Irene and to all our viewers.
hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. If you have, click the like button, and if you hit subscribe, then you'll find us again next week easier.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.
And on our website, which is www.theexpatbutchers.com.
Make sure you have a check on there under our blog section. I've put the boar jerky recipe on there if you're interested.
I'm interested, well in fact I'm more than interested in reading it, so I want to have some. So
There you go.
Thank you very much.
You just got to open it now. Thanks for watching and we will see you next week.
Cheerio.
Cheers! It's better than that multiple charno last week.
Yes,
That was just
it's a lot better than that.
yeah.
Really nice.
I look like a more than a